So let's say that you're about to have a newborn grandchild. Probably you should check with your doctor if you've had it. Normally, you only need to get 1 dose of the Boostrix, which has all 3, Tdap. And then after that, every 10 years, you're gonna get a booster shot, which does not have whooping cough. It only has tetanus and diphtheria. And let's say that, oh, I don't remember if I've ever had whooping cough shot, then I would just go ahead and get it. If you're gonna be near a baby, it's better to be safe than sorry. And I do have a lot of new dads who come and get it because they don't remember, I don't know if I got it. Then the doctors do recommend that you need to get it. Let's say that your grandchild or your daughters are pregnant. With every pregnancy, they need to be protected because whatever the immunity they're getting from the shot, they're passing on to the unborn baby. So moms, when they're pregnant, they also need to get it with every single pregnancy. So because in the US, people are so well protected, healthcare is so affordable, it's very accessible, tetanus and diphtheria cases have been reduced by 99% with the vaccination. Whooping cough, it's been reduced by 80%. Not quite there, but we're going there. So we just want to make sure that everybody is protected, especially for younger children and babies. Any questions on the tetanus shot?
Was the third one diphtheria?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Diphtheria, pertussis. So it has tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. Yeah. But the booster shot doesn't have pertussis, which is whooping cough. Yeah. But you get it every 10 years. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to talk about MMR. Does anybody have any idea what MMR might stand for?
Is that the measles one?
Yeah.
And we've got an outbreak in Alabama.
Oh, yeah. So we have measles, mumps, rubella. So this is a viral infection that goes around. I mean, I heard that you guys haven't had a lot of measles outbreak until recently. So I guess there has been some gap in the immunization. So I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware. Is there anybody who's born before 1957 here? Before. Yeah. So this shot was actually made in 1963. So people who were born before 1957, we normally assume that you've had it when you're little. So it means that you are immune to it, meaning you're protected from it. But there are some cases that you might need the shot, so I'm just going to talk about that. So measles is like you have flu-like symptoms like fever, fatigue, runny nose, headache, and sometimes you can get pink eye and you will get rash. So mumps is kind of similar to measles, flu-like symptoms like fever, headache, fatigue. One of the differences is that when you open your mouth, there's a gland that produces saliva in your mouth. That gland is going to be swollen. And this one is kind of serious if you do get it, because sometimes it can lead to hearing loss, so you will not be able to hear, or it can cause your brain to swell up too. So pretty serious stuff here going on. Rubella is another virus that can cause arthritis. It looks like when you are pregnant, if you get rubella, it can cause you to miscarriage, and it can also cause some serious birth defects in the baby. So another thing that we really want to make sure that females don't get it when they're pregnant. And measles, it looks like it's pretty hard stuff to get rid of. Let's say that you walked into a room and you don't know who has been to any of the rooms, like in the public areas. Let's say that somebody had measles, didn't know about it, went shopping, went somewhere, you walk into the same room, that person has been there at least 2 hours before, you can still get it from just being in the same room. So you don't need to have a direct contact to get it, if you're just simply by being in the same room, you can still get measles. So with this one, people can get vaccinated while they're really young, like when they're babies and when they're children. So a lot of the times adults don't think about getting them, but with the outbreaks going on, I've had a lot of people asking me about it. So I thought of 4 different scenarios where people might need it. So the first one is just a booster shot. You're already immune to it. Let's say that you already got 2 different doses, but there has been outbreaks like, these days. And then you are concerned that the doses that you've gotten before might not protect you completely. Then they said that, go ahead and get a booster dose. There's no harm in getting it. Just go ahead and get it. That's what they said. So if you guys are really concerned about getting another one, I will go ahead and recommend that you do need to get a booster dose. And let's say that, I don't remember if I'm completely protected. I don't remember if I've had these MMR shots when I was little. Then they do say that go ahead and get it, better to be protected. The third one, I think a lot of people here may apply. You're born prior to 1957. Like I said, the vaccine was made in 1963, so you guys are considered to be immune to the measles. But let's say that you get your blood testing done, like on your annual exam, and your doctor tests for titers, meaning let's see if you're immune to certain type of diseases that's going around in the community. And the results showed that, you're not actually protected. Then in that case, your doctor will go ahead and recommend you to get one. And on that one, if you do get one, you only need to get 1 dose. And let's say that there's no record, I don't know where I've been, I just don't know anything about my past record, then they do recommend that you need to go ahead and get 1 dose. Is there any question about MMR? Alrighty, that was it for me. Well, I am so glad that I can be here talking to you guys about immunization. Thank you so much.
I've always wanted to do that. Thank you very much for coming to speak with us. Every time I heard you say a dose, it reminded me of a Honeymooners episode. And the doctor came in, he was going to give Ed a simple inoculation. And when he turned around, he took that needle in, and Ed said, "But I don't want an inoculation." So that's my thoughts on inoculations. Come on, Dave, it won't hurt. That's right, because you ain't sticking that thing in. We have one more speaker. It's Ricky Roberts. He's from the Prattville Fire Department. He's born and raised in Alabama. Did I get that right, sir?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And he's been here in Prattville for 18 years working with the fire department. It's my pleasure to introduce Ricky Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank you for that information. That was very good. That's good information she gave you, very much so.
Please use the mic.
Can't hear? Well, let's see if we can raise this thing up.
Can I turn this up in?
It's okay. I think it's wide open.
It is.
Will it go up some? Okay, there we go. How about now? Is that better? Okay, all right.
Get it up close
We
to
can
it.
get it up closer. All right. Like I was saying, that was some good information that she had. And we are getting a lot of information from the state health department about responding to the measles outbreak. So I don't know that we've had any responses yet here in central Alabama that I know of, but we are prepared. You know, well, let me tell you, Ricky Roberts, born and raised here in central Alabama, been with the city for about 18 years. Does most everybody here live in the city of Prattville? Most everybody? Well, thank you. Thank you for employing us and giving us our job. You know, a lot of times in public, people tell us, you know, thank you for what you do. We appreciate the citizens. We really do, and we love our jobs. I know I do. I know you've heard this a lot of times your whole life, but I sincerely mean it. When I wake up in the morning, I want to go to work. I can't imagine being when you woke up in the morning that you were just miserable. Now, are all days perfect? No. I mean, you have good days and bad days, but most days here in Prattville are awesome. So we do a lot of training to make sure we're ready for anything that happens here. What do you think that most of our calls are? Just speak out.
Domestic.
Domestic, like people that are sick and stuff like that. That is correct. Most of our calls are EMS related. Do we still have fires? Absolutely. It's funny, the old saying, things come in threes, because they generally do. We will go for sometimes a month or so and not have a fire, and then we'll have 3 fires in 2 days. Or we'll have, 10 fires in a month and go 3 or 4 months and not have them. Same thing with automobile wrecks. Who's lived in Prattville over 30 years? Raise your hand. Okay. This city has changed so much. The growth on the east side and the traffic. I think, am I right that the mayor's going to be here next week? Is that right? Yes, I'm sure he'll talk about that. But we're building so many new houses out there and so many developments. There's so much more traffic. So we're going to a lot of wrecks. So y'all be careful out there. And you know what happens about Thanksgiving to the first of the year? Everybody comes to Prattville to shop now. So we stay so busy with automobile wrecks and people falling and fighting at Walmart on Black Friday, and it's amazing how people act. But we're really prepared for a lot of different things, fire, EMS, but we do a lot of specialty operations too, hazardous material, rope rescue. One thing that I kind of oversee is something that we as a city didn't foresee to the last 5 or 6 years, is the creek. I don't know if some of you that have lived in Prattville a pretty good while, that creek used to be where I wasn't going to get in that creek. That creek was dirty and nasty and stuff all in it. Well, the creek committee's cleaned it up, and now on the weekends, if you go behind City Hall, sometimes there's 100 people back there, and people are kayaking, and so we're having to go to the creek and get people for a multitude of different things. They're, flipping over and almost drowning, and people can't swim. I've never understood that. Why do you jump in the water when you can't swim? But they do. So we go to that, and then unfortunately, a lot of people are going down the creek in kayaks. So that's not unfortunate. That's a good thing. But when they get down the creek, they're having some type of medical issue. So we have to get to them. So we've had to kind of adapt for that. So the fire department's really evolved in my career, where it used to just be fire and EMS. Now we pretty much, you know what? You pick up the phone for 911, unless somebody's stole something or shot somebody, they call us. The dispatch sends the fire department. Yeah, seriously, we still get calls for cats in trees, puppies down drains, and everything, and when we go. So, but I thank you again for having me here tonight. I'm going to go over a few things with fire safety. I won't keep you long. I know if you're like me, I go to bed about 8:30, so I've only got just a few more minutes, right? Interesting statistic here, and Captain Rhodey works under me, and he does our public education. So he normally comes out and speaks to wonderful groups like you. So I appreciate your patience with me going over these. He has them memorized. I don't. He was going to be here tonight, and he had to take his daughter out of town for something unexpectedly. So I'm here. So I've got some interesting things for you. So I thought about this. Well, I found out about an hour ago I was coming, but I thought about it, and the title is Senior Fire Safety, but you know what? I read over this, which I've seen this my whole career. just gonna say fire safety. This applies to everybody. But these first statistics, can y'all still hear me pretty good? We good now? Okay. I can't hear. Don't feel bad. I can't hear anything out of this here right here. So this is these statistics here. We're talking about fire safety. Older adults age 65 and older are twice as likely to die in a fire as any other age group. 65 or you're twice as likely. And there's lots of different things that could factor into that. Now listen to this. Now this is very surprising. The death rate for those 85 and over is 4 times the national average. So what do you think? Why do you think that is?
Well, 2 reasons.
Tell me.
They move slower, they can't get out. And the other ones, they probably already have breathing problems and they're dying from smoke.
Absolutely. And another is your senses. Like we were just talking about me not being able to hear, and your vision. And we're going to talk about the smoke alarms here in just a second. But you're exactly right. As we get older, we're not near as fast as we used to be. And sometimes, let me tell you about construction. Real quick, real simple fire science little lesson. Any house built before 1985, 90, when they catch fire, they're made out of real wood and real nails. All right. Those houses, we have time. When a fire starts, if we're notified, we can normally get there and normally make a stop on that fire. It doesn't spread as much, okay? Because it's wood. It's over here. The new houses, those houses out there back behind Cracker Barrel, you know, where they're building whole neighborhoods in like 3 months out there, they're building a house a day. Okay, so those things are made out of all kind of composites and plastics. That's not real wood. And so those of you that grew up, you know, building a house and everything, nothing's nailed together. It's all like gusset plates and everything with staples and a little bit, and it fails. Just a little bit of heat. New furniture. So if you have older furniture, maybe that's been to your family a long time, when it catches on fire, it burns slow. If you go to Rooms to Go and buy that furniture out there, you can light one of those couches on fire in 3 or 4 minutes. It's burned up.
Particle board.
Everything's particle board, so it burns faster. So absolutely right, you've got to get out of that house. And as older you are, the harder it is. There's 7 different places, 7 different areas I'm going to go over really briefly with you. All right, install and maintain your smoke alarms. How often are you supposed to change your batteries?
Every time there's a time change.
All right, so there's conflicting stuff out there, and I heard both of them, and they're both right. So matter of fact, this sheet right here, if it comes from the National Fire Protection Agency, says once a year. But what's it say every time the time changes on TV? Set your clocks back and change your batteries every single time. So do I change mine once a year? I'm embarrassed. You know when I change mine? When it starts beeping. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and stand up here for those. But I'll tell you what you're supposed to. I'm going to shake my finger at you. We'll say every 6 months, on record, every 6 months. You know, the cool thing about smoke detectors is that they're making them now that some of them have a battery that lasts 8 to 10 years. Yeah, so everything's changed. Just like she was talking about the advancement and pharmaceutical stuff, things like batteries and LED lights, things are changing. So yeah, you can buy them now that last 10 years. So I wouldn't have to buy but just a few more, and that would get me on by, right? I wouldn't have to worry about those. So we remember you and I were talking about movement. So another is hearing impairment. So you might be just feisty as ever, even if you're 80 years old, but if you don't have any hearing. So now they've got them that when a smoke detector or smoke alarm goes off, that it'll have strobes, like lights, or even they might shake your chair that you watch TV or your bed or whatever to let you know that there's some type of problem. Here's another one I'm kind of guilty of. I'm going to blame this one on my wife. Once a month, you're supposed to test them and clean them, dust your smoke alarms off. Who in here does that? If you raise your hand, you're telling a story. But I bet, ladies, there's no dust on them all day. There is no dust in y'all's house, right? No. Yeah, so you're supposed to test them and dust them. The next thing is smoking materials. And I could easily say, if you smoke, raise your hand. I'm not gonna do that. We'll just talk about people that smoke and what they need to be careful. And that way, if you smoke, listen to what I'm saying. If you know somebody, get on to them. 1/3 of the fire deaths in a